I decided rather than just rush through that titles thing in 10 seconds, maybe I would show you. Maybe that might be nicer. So, let's talk about the titles, which are up here. There's a lot of different things that you can do. I may actually... Okay, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go through and put in the rest of my transitions where I want them. Then I'm going to come back and show you how to crop this into a square format or reformat it for square. And then I will show you how to do the titles and everything else, because I really only do those in my square videos. Because I really think that they're most necessary for Facebook. So let me do that, and then we will pick up. Okay, I lied. I'm going to pick it up back here because I noticed something that would be a good opportunity for me to teach you something. So the background that I'm shooting on actually looks a lot more like this than it does here. It's kind of dulled out. It's kind of more brownish instead of that really vibrant blue that I want. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. There's a couple ways to do this. One way works better than the other. So I'll show you the way that should be easier, but that doesn't always work. And that is to color match. So if you go here, you can hit match color. And then what you do is you're going to go to a different frame that has the coloring that you want, that should be there. So in my case, so like there, that's a pretty good representation. So if I select that, in theory, it should fix it over here, which it did to a degree, but it kind of washed out some other stuff. And I don't know how easy that would be for me to go back and fix. So I'm going to try it a different way. And I mean, you can try it with like different clips to see if, you know, if you can get the color, you know, more to where you want it. Try different areas. And if you have one like here, like that would actually be pretty good. But still, it still doesn't get it the way that it really needs to. So the easier way to do that is to come back to your color board, and you know, I talked about adjusting the colors. So here, this is pretty much, although it may not look like it, it's the shadows. The background is usually your shadows. So I'm going to take my shadows here, and I'm going to drag it over into the blue. And you see how really just the background and the pan is what's changing color. The chicken's not, my hand's not, it's just the background. So I can kind of navigate that to where I think it needs to be, which is about there. Then I can go and kind of, you know, check that and see those colors are pretty accurate now. So then if I wanted to or needed to, if I needed to apply that to other frames, you can note your colors here, which is I went to 204 degrees and 17%, and you can just go there and type it if you wanted, and that would do it. Or you can do that copy and paste, so Command and C, and then come to your other clips. Any other clips that need their color adjusted. So really it'll just be these, because that once I get to here, it's okay, the balance adjusted. So we'll select these four, edit, paste attributes, and we're going to deselect everything that isn't my color correction here. So we're going to remove, we're going to leave the balance. We're going to unselect that, maintain, and paste. So now that color is all the way through. And then if I wanted to, I could go and adjust the color even more, but it's close enough. So you can see the blue gets a little bit more vibrant as it goes along as my camera adjusted the color on its end. So that's why it doesn't look quite as vibrant there. So if I wanted to, I could come back here and back that off a little bit, like to there. And then see, that's a much better transition. That's almost, I mean, you can kind of play around with it, but you can see what I'm doing there. This is a little too green. Go there. Okay, so that's how you can go and adjust your colors. And if it's too cool, you can drag it down to the yellows or whatever. I mean, you can play around with it and you'll get a better sense of how it works. Let me go in and add my transitions now. Okay, so I've gone back through, I've done a little bit more editing, exposure here, color, taking out some areas where nothing's happening, and I've added my transitions. So this is kind of where I'm at now. So that was a cross dissolve transition. And this is a cross dissolve. And then that was a Gaussian. So it was a full out blur into a new frame. And for the landscape blogs, or landscape videos, since they're going on my blog, I honestly don't spend, maybe this is a bad philosophy, I don't spend a ton of time on them because I spend a lot more time on my Facebook videos because that's what's going to draw people into my website. So that was another cross dissolve. So I don't, I used to put in, the titles and, ingredients and all that stuff. And I was kind of like, I just don't think it's worth the effort on the landscape videos. But, I guess honestly, it doesn't really matter because of, you pretty much just duplicate the whole project anyway for Facebook. So it's really whichever way you want to do it. I tend not to put ingredients in unless they're super simple, but that's obviously all just a matter of personal preference. And then I have a logo, which I think is this, yeah, that I throw at the end. So it just me, and then you add the depending on where you get your music from, you need to add credits to it. So I use the lower thirds. I can show you how this works. If I can find the one I'm looking for. Right, this is the one that I use. Okay, so you just drag this into your project, and then you can resize it and move it around wherever you want it to start and stop. So double click it, and it'll come up here, and then you can edit it to whatever. Now when you're looking at titles, don't get wrapped up in the font that they show or whatever, because you can change pretty much everything. You hit this arrow and get out of color board, it should bring up the title board. So select everything up here, and then you can get bigger or smaller and change the font. And then there's all kinds of stuff like you can do. If it's multiple lines, you can change the spacing of it. You can do tons of stuff. You can make it look 3D. Since this is just sound credits, I try and make it not super detracting from what I'm doing. So I'm going to take away the outline, and I'm going to change the face color, which is just the color of the text. And I tend to use just like, like a medium gray, like that. And you can change the opacity of it so that it's super soft or not. So that's what I do there. So now that's what it looks like. And then you can move it really wherever you wanted. So I'll put it right there in the corner. And then when you don't highlight it, that's what it will look like. So maybe I want to actually take my opacity down just a little bit so it's a little bit lighter like that. Okay, and then all of this will then copy into your Square Facebook video, which is what I'm going to show you how to do next. So I did a quick video on this and sent it in Facebook Messenger, but I'll just add it onto this. So here, come up here back to like your project and your clips and all of that. Highlight your project, Command D to duplicate it. Okay, so now let's change the name of this so that we know which one is our Square one. And then you'll come over here, hit modify, change this to custom, and then put in your resolution. So for Facebook, it's 640 by 640. Okay, so we have our black bars here that obviously are not going to work for our purposes. So we'll come here, highlight it, go to the crop menu, and select that. Drop down to crop, and then click on the frame, and it should pop up. Ask me what I want to do here. Why it's not. Here we go. Crop, and it just automatically defaulted to the square, so that's great. It's nice and centered. It's why it's kind of important to make sure that you're shooting everything fairly centered, because it's just easier. Although if you found out, well, maybe we'll run into it. You can adjust your anchor, like where, or adjust your left and right cropping. So if you wanted more crop from the left, you can change this. If you want more crop from the right, so like, let me show you. So watch the numbers over here. So if I needed it over here, so my numbers are going to be different than if it's dead center. So, but that's just, and you can make it wherever and then copy and paste from one clip to the next like I showed you. So in this case, we'll just hit done. And then we're going to come back down here, select our clip, and Command C to copy. And we're going to hit Command A for all of it. We're going to paste the attributes. And we're going to do everything except, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We don't want anything except crop. That's all we want. And then hit maintain and paste. So now everything is cropped where it's supposed to be. And since I shot everything in the center as much as humanly possible, it worked out really well. And then I have a square version of the same thing that I'll copy and drop in there. And you can do really whatever you want. You can drop in a photo. Let me pause this while I find my photo. Okay, so with Facebook, it's good. It's important to make sure that you get like a good initial photo, since that's what people will see first and make them want to watch it. So you can just drag photos in and drop them like this. Get rid of that, and I'll add a transition in there. It's like that. And then I'll change the cropping on this to Ken Burns to match. So that will look. And then I'll add a title over the top of it. So I like to use fade, so I can just search for that. Drag that on and add it. So close to the end. So I'll just add my title.